Hey everyone, welcome to the Zest, the official podcast of Orange Coast Magazine. I'm Chelsea Ranieri, and today I'm joined by two guests, Miguel and Joshua González. Miguel is the director of IT for Northgate Market, and Joshua is the director of operations. So Northgate Market was first opened in 1980 and is now one of the largest Hispanic supermarket chains in the country. In 2023, they launched Mercado Gonzalez Northgate Market, a vibrant food hall featuring 20 vendors serving up a variety of Mexican dishes, including tamales, tacos, menudo, and more. Thank you so much for being here today, Miguel and Joshua González.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. I have to say, my husband and I are so obsessed with Mercado Gonzalez. We go like all the time. We're always eating the tacos, but I need to go on a weekend so I can finally have the menudo because I grew up eating that from my grandma making it. So I'm very excited to try that.
We'll see you there.
Yeah. Amazing.
Best menudo for sure.
Really? Oh God, I'm so excited. I eat it so fast, I'm like sweating. So I'm very excited to try that. Well, to give some backstory, because you guys have such an incredible family history, in 1952, your grandfather's shoe factory and store burned down. So can you share how this led to your family's journey to the U.S.?
So when that happened, obviously my grandfather was took on a tremendous amount of debt, and they tried, going to Mexico City. They tried to go to different areas in Mexico. At that point, I think there was only, I want to say 12 brothers and sisters, right?
Yeah.
And so the three oldest, I think, were somewhere around 19, 18, 17 in that age range,
So young.
which was, sorry?
That's so young.
Yeah. So the oldest was Ramon, my uncle. The next one was Joshua's father, who was Francisco, and then it was my father in terms of the men in the family. So then my grandfather, our grandfather, ended up bringing I think the two oldest, and then my dad, or did all three of them, I think, came over and got them to work. They held different positions, and everything from working on the farm, then working in factories. I know Josh's father worked a while for GM, right?
Wow.
And then my grandfather worked in a company where they made like chain link fences and stuff like that over here. I think it was in Garden Grove. And from there, it's somebody offered them they were looking for a duplex to be able to bring the rest of the family, and where they would live in one of the units and rent out the other one, kind of. And when they went to go talk to the realtor, he somehow convinced them to buy a market.
Huh.
Didn't have any background in anything related to markets. So, and with the grace of God and a lot of hard work, everybody got to work, and they ended up bringing the rest of the family a few years later, or actually by that time they brought them over, and so there was at least 10, 11 working at the market at one time, and the market was just a little bit bigger than a typical 7-Eleven, right? In downtown Anaheim, and the name Northgate Market actually stuck because they, at the end of the day, when they purchased the business, they didn't have enough money to change the sign. So that's how spent they were, and that's how an investment in a duplex became a market.
No way. It's so funny. So my husband's from Downey, and he used to grow up going to the Northgate out there. And so he would tell me like all about it. And so then when Mercado Gonzalez opened, he was like elated to get to show me everything. Well, so how did it go from one neighborhood market? Because when you said it's the size of a 7-Eleven, I can't imagine compared to what you guys have now, like the scale of it. But how'd you go from one neighborhood market to one of the largest Hispanic supermarket chains in the country?
The family's been very united. The 13 siblings, 13 brothers and sisters, along with our grandparents, just believed that this business was a gift and that we had to be good stewards of that business. If you think about in the 1980s, what was happening around, the Hispanic population and the growth of Hispanic population and how they were underserved really in terms of the products they were looking
Yeah.
for, whether that be ingredients, prepared products like carnitas, chicharrones. And so that was kind of the space, that was the opportunity. And the family has always had a very disciplined approach to the economics and reinvesting the majority of everything we earn back into the business. And I think both treating our team members very well and having pride in what we do, trying to offer the best products, and ultimately reinvesting into the business for over 45 years. That's how we've grown the business. Today we have three generations
Wow.
working in the business. Our grandparents have passed away, but it's our 13, our parents, 13 brothers and sisters, 8 brothers, 5 sisters. And then in our generation, we're 53, and 32 of us work in the family enterprise. And in the fourth generation, there's 75, and about 10 now work in the enterprise as well. So it's a real family
Oh my
business.
God, that's so cool. I can't even imagine what your guys' like Christmases must look like. It sounds like such a fun environment.
Really fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. One of the stories that I actually really loved when you were talking about how the community was underserved, I think it was maybe your dad who we featured in the magazine, but he was talking about there was a customer who, or I forget, yeah, but there was a customer who was looking for a specific ingredient for years, and she finally found it at Mercado Gonzalez, and she was crying. And now that seeing that in person, I was just like, there's so many different amazing ingredients and just all these different. So that's really cool that you guys were able to bring that.
Yeah, that whole crying, I've heard about 3 or 4 different
No
stories.
way.
But what's interesting is we've had people that have come from Argentina that says this reminds me of my hometown and are crying.
Oh,
There's people that come from Spain. There's people, and it just it speaks to how the culture kind of flowed into Mexico and all of Latin America and how how that connection is made. But I've heard at least 4 or 5 stories where they say, "Hey, this reminds me of home," and it has nothing to do with Mexico. It's different countries,
yeah.
different seasons, but it's beautiful. It's living art.
What an incredible feeling that must be to know that your family's legacy has brought so much happiness to so many people.
Yeah, it's really exciting to think about that our passion, what we like to do as a family, is
Yeah.
is uh, valued and enjoyed by so many people. And when you go to the mercado in Costa Mesa, for example, you see people from all walks of life who are enjoying the mercado and have a very similar interest in getting to know the Mexican culture, feeling proud of it, and enjoying in different ways, whether that be buying an avocado that's, ripe and
Yeah.
perfect to eat today, or, carne asada to make at home, or a salsa fresca made in the mercado. We take a lot of pride, and, we have a lot of fun with it too.
Yeah. So my grandma passed when I was a teenager, but going there just reminded me so much of her. So I love it. But well, anyway, speaking of all the family that you have that are involved in the business, how do you strike a balance between honoring tradition and then continuing to innovate?
Uh, well, you know what? Josh worked really hard with a lot of folks around here, and I'll let Josh speak a little bit to it. But it was just saying, being unapologetic when it comes to, hey, we want to bring something to the people. We want to bring our culture. Instead of doing something for the masses, it's like, hey, let us share what our experience is when we go back home, when we travel, all the nooks and crannies, all these different little areas where we go and we experience. And I mean, but one of them that's a true testament is kind of that churreria, right? They went down to Mexico and were visiting all these, a group of people, and they said, hey, like this is something we want to bring back. And I'll let kind of Josh talk about it, but it's just doing that and being, just being unapologetic and saying, hey, this is going to work because if it's good enough for me, our customers are going to love it, right?
Yeah.
Chelsea, we focused on the regionality of Mexico, and as you know, Mexico in its regionality is very distinct, and the regions bring different types of ingredients, different types of cultural practices, and we believe that that's just not well known today in the United States, and we wanted to be the family and the brand that could bring that in an elevated way, but at the same time that's very accessible to everyone. The Mercado is a very accessible experience to all. So you see people from all walks of life. It's not a penalty to shop a great experience that's well designed, has over 13 murals, all hand painted by Mexican and Mexican American artists. Um, all of the artisan products made in house. Will that be carnitas with our grandfather's recipe, our
Oh, that's
grandfather's chorizo being made in store, all of our salsas from a habanera to a salsa, a pico de gallo or a guacamole, all of our bread, whether it be pan fino, danés, bolillos, everything being made there. And we wanted to showcase that in a way that hasn't been done before.
oh my god. Yeah, it's gorgeous inside. So how did you guys come up with that idea to do the market and also the grocery store aspect of it?
Oh, go for it. I mean, that's
And really, we saw that when Mexican culture started to become really cool, right? And we've thought it's been cool for a really long time, right?
Yeah.
but people started to have more access or more understanding of what Mexican culture represented, what it brings, the culinary aspect of Mexican culture and the arts, and we wanted to showcase that in a different way. So what we did is we studied the mercados of Mexico. We went to El 20 de Noviembre in Oaxaca. We went to Mercado de Abastos in Guadalajara. We went all over learning about what makes mercados special. As you know, most of the old world has mercados, right? Marketplaces that are community hubs where people buy ingredients and they buy prepared foods, and we wanted to bring that to life. So that's why the mercado, in its essence and its design, has so many meandering vistas. It has so many different nooks. It has so many different colors. The mercado has 153 different colors in it,
What?
and it has over 50 different tiles.
Wow.
So it's very thoughtful in its design.
Yeah, that's incredible. You feel I can when you said the amount of colors, you feel that when you walk in. It's gorgeous. I also
Thank you.
small aspect, but I love that you can walk around with a glass of wine. I was like, "This is great."
There you
Yeah,
go.
I was like we ended up buying way more than we intended. I was like, "I love this." Um,
may or may not be by design.
yeah. I love that. Well, can you share a bit about the impactful work being done by the Gonzalez Reynoso Foundation and Viva la Salud?
Oh man, that's a big one. It's I'd kind of like to take one step back because kind of how it came to be, because I think it does it justice. When my grandfather passed away, a number of people showed up to my grandmother's house and said, "Hey, Don Miguel used to help me pay for my treatment. Don Miguel used to pay for my son," and they're like, "No, well, we don't believe you." And then somewhere along the line, somebody opened up a checkbook and saw all these checks that my grandfather was writing
Oh
to
my god.
everybody there locally, even at the stores and stuff, and he wouldn't tell anybody. And so I think it dawned on everybody. It says, well, how do we support that legacy? How do we give him honor? And that's kind of how it originated. Said, well, let's formalize it. Let's make this let's have a process around it. And it for a long time that's what it encompassed. It's grown into so much more with Viva la Salud, and our communities really struggle with a lot of health issues, especially when it comes to diabetes. So educating them, and Teresa Blanco has been a godsend. I mean, she is so passionate about the work being done, making sure that the customers are educated, that we're offering mammograms, that we're really it's a living testament to what the foundation wants to do and how it goes into practice at the stores and all these events and all that. Luckily we've gotten a little bit better in involving our vendor partners and being able to donate to that cause and being, whether it's partnerships at health fairs or whether it's supporting the fundraising efforts to be able to give back to the communities, to the schools. I don't know if I've missed anything, but it's kind of.
Yeah, and the three kind of pillars that we focus on, as Miguel kind of alluded to, is education, health, and wellness. Really being able to support communities with what they need, but education is really the strongest pillar because we know what education does for families and the mobility that it creates in communities, and we just feel passionate about supporting that.
Yeah, I read that you guys partner with colleges like Cerritos, USC, and Bremen University.
Yes.
Wow. Can you talk a bit about that?
Well, and that's just a few of them. I think with Cerritos, we have a really good program. It's called the WAFC, Western Associated Food Chain Management, right? And basically, it's preparing people within the grocery industry, whether it's a retailer, whether it's a vendor partner, giving the whether it's HR certificates, marketing courses, a number of different certificates, and getting them to advance their education, right? I mean, you think about a grocery store worker in the 70s, 80s, and or even the 90s, and what there are now. It's we have so many individuals within the stores. Either they're getting a degree, or they're getting they're going back to adult school, they're getting their certificate, or they're helping their kids get certificates and just getting ahead of that. USC does a whole food industry management program, and a number of organizations feed into that, and making that possible. And pretty much Northgate sends 2 individuals a year, takes on their salary while they go off for 5 months, and pretty much just immerse full time, don't work at all, and that's one of the requirements, and really open their eyes into what truly the grocery industry is. It's way more than just selling food. It's health and wellness. It's it's globalization. It's so much more, especially with health, and whether it's medical centers inside medical offerings within the store, etc. And then I know there's a couple people from Northgate, from the family, that are on boards in different colleges around too, Santa Ana College, and just we see it as our duty as a family to give back to the communities, and making sure that their best interests are always top of mind. And I don't know what else I missed there, but
I think you nailed it.
There's just
Yeah,
so much. But
that's amazing. I love that that all started from your grandpa's generosity.
it really, really, really did, and I think it goes back to that. We're Oscar, my uncle, always puts it really well about how we're stewards, right? We're stewards, and we're here to help administer. And I mean, all our decisions, directly affect about almost 7,000 families, right? But it goes, I think, a lot more. It goes to our communities and making sure that we have products that aren't going to cause them harm, or if it is going to cause them harm, they know exactly what that wine's going to do, right?
Yeah.
But they're well educated and all this stuff, but it at the end of the day, it's we're just we got to share this world, and we're gonna look out for the best interests of our communities.
As we like to say, doing well by doing good.
Yeah, I love that. Well, also Northgate, what does it mean for Northgate to become a 100-year evergreen company, and how are you working towards that goal?
We believe that this business is a gift, as we mentioned before, and when you have so many family members in the business and such passion for the business, it not only becomes about how do you kind of groom the next generation to serve and to have a ethic of hard work and passion for what we're doing. It also becomes about how do you think long term as an organization, because when you don't think long term, it's easy to make short term decisions that maybe have a short term benefit
Mhm.
but really hurt your communities or your organization or your brand long term. And we like to make long term bets, thinking about what's going to be best not only today, but also, 20, 30, and hopefully 100 years from now.
Yeah.
And we also believe that when you have a purpose-driven business, you attract purpose-driven people, people who want to contribute to what your mission is about. And so we're very passionate about being able to groom not only our family members but also our team members in succession.
Wow, that's incredible. And then also, I didn't know that store one in Anaheim that we talked about in the beginning is being renovated this year. So, what can customers expect from its new version?
Yeah, so that one's interesting. I think the only way, so the family ended up uh, mo- selling it, donating it, but to is it the city of Anaheim or is it
Yeah,
to
City of Anaheim.
city of
Oh,
Anaheim?
wow.
But the only way they were going to do that is the way they did it. We're big on sentimental value in our family, but they said, hey, we want to create a little cultural hub where there's training, I mean, there's a number of things,
Education.
education, and so they're going to have a community kitchen, all that stuff. But basically, they're going to open up to the community and pretty much empower community members and help them, whether it's to launch a small little business, food business, whether it's hold meetings, educate the community, all that stuff. And so they've kept some of the original um, doors, some of the original decor from the store, and but it truly speaks to, hey, this is where it started for us, and it being able to help start you off, just since it's near and dear to our heart, and it was perfect, right? Obviously, the offerings of what Northgate is, and it's such a small footprint, we had closed it down, and we're kind of, well, what do we do with it? And it just, when was it when we're ready, when we're ready to when we're ready to listen, God's ready to speak, right?
Yeah. I love how that came full
So
circle.
it is. I don't know if you want to add anything to that. I know that you've worked a little bit more extensively with the groups and the people that are fundraising to make all
No,
this
I
stuff
think you said it. Just being able to use it as a place for doing good in the community. It's so sentimental to us, and the city of Anaheim has been so wonderful to us, and we just want to give back and contribute in the best way possible.
Amazing. Well, is there anything that you would like listeners to keep an eye out for in this coming year or in years moving forward?
Yes, for sure. I mean, I think they're going to be excited by the new concepts and new products we're developing to bring to market. We have 4 stores in our plans for next year, and we're just excited about being able to bring new culinary experiences, new products that for some are known, but for many are not. And then also cultural experiences such as cooking classes, events, and festivals. So a lot of exciting things coming from the brand.
Ooh, that all sounds so fun. The cooking classes sound really fun.
Yeah, we do have them already. For example, in this coming holiday, you're going to be able to take tamal making classes and other types of classes.
Oh, very cool. That's good to know.
Yeah, our marketing department's doing tremendous work in bringing actual cooks and cooks, home style cooking, chefs that are very, to specific to a region, bringing them from Mexico and doing in-store cooking classes. And so truly authentic stuff, some stuff that I haven't even heard half the ingredients go in, and just being able to bring that. So I think, to Josh's point, there's going to be so much more. As far as a message, I want to make sure anybody that's visited the store, thank them for having that confidence to walk in to experience something new. We know you weren't disappointed, and just know that it's a constant improvement on the brand, on the offerings, and Josh here is tirelessly working to make sure it never gets boring. So there's always going to be upgrades, additions, changes, keeping it as fresh and relevant, and making sure that we bring as much as to for Mexico to these markets and to these new concepts.
Incredible.
And a lot of gratitude, Chelsea. A lot of gratitude. I don't know how we do that, but we want to share our gratitude
Yeah.
to all of our guests and everybody that supported us.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you so much for doing this. We are coming to the end of our time. But before I let you go, I have 3 final questions for you that we call the Thoughtful 3. So, first, what does success look like for Northgate Market today, and how has that definition evolved over time?
But success, if I were to define success for Northgate Market, it's all of us in there together, everybody winning,
Oh,
right? The customer winning with what they want and the experience they have, the taste, and not being disappointed, right? Our vendor partners understanding that they feel proud of something they're offering in our stores, and obviously in Northgate being able to serve and making sure that we make those long-term relationships and connections with their customers. I think those that's what I would, if you ask me what was success in Northgate, it's everybody's happy, right?
yeah.
Everybody's. What about you, Josh?
I would say, also the development of our people and our organization, and making better lives for themselves, being challenged by the work they're doing and fulfilled. I think that's a big part of our success.
Amazing. Well, what values have been the most important in guiding Northgate Market's growth over the years? And how do you ensure those values stay rooted in everything you do? And I feel like you guys talk so much about this.
Yeah,
Faith for sure. That's a big one. Hard work.
yeah, I think my grandfather's was hard work and faith. Faith was huge. He always believed in first, going to church on Sunday, making sure that box is checked, and doing good. But faith and hard work, I think they're very. I mean, you
Faith, family, and hard work,
Yeah.
as we like to say it. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Well, what lessons from earlier generations have had the biggest influence on how Northgate operates today?
you know what I think there's to me it's I see it as a lot of sacrifice, right? There's been a lot of sacrifice, a lot of delayed gratification. Um, they see it as kind of this that was our only choice, right? It's you want to eat, you got to work, you got to you have to make a living. But we saw our parents working 6 7 days a week, from sunrise or before sunrise to wait past sunset, and sometimes we didn't see them in the whole day. So there's a lot of that, but I think there's a lot of sacrifice. But I think that's one that I see it. You talk to them, they're like, we don't feel like we sacrificed a lot,
Really?
but obviously,
Yeah.
obviously there's a lot of it.
Mm. Anything from you, Joshua?
I would say the staying close, and very in touch with our business, with our people, being very present in our stores, being very present in the community, being very present with our team members. I think just being very present, hands-on, and passionate about what we do, I think is probably one of the ones that resonates most with me.
I love that. Well, I loved getting to have this conversation. This is such a, like, you guys have such an incredible family. And I was already such a fan of your Mercado and everything that you guys do, and now I'm even more of a fan. So thank you for getting to do this.
Thank you.